Santa is going to claw his way through some victims. We are talking about the movie Dead by Christmas, and this one comes out, I believe, early October 2018, directed and co-written by Armand Petri. And this one is a low-budget Christmas-themed slasher film. It focuses on a group of young adults who all grew up in an orphanage. Now, we learn through a series of exposition that when they were kids, there was some kind of abuse going on by the resident priest, who may have been doing some naughty things, shall we say, with some of the children whilst they were there. And it hints that there may have been some kind of repercussions from these kids, and ultimately now in their their adulthood, they've come back to see the nun, the sister who was there, to spend Christmas all together and catch up after one of their members apparently committed suicide by sticking candy in his eyes. A total normal way to go, suicide. Anyway, it turns out there is a masked serial killer dressed up as a scary looking Santa, cutting a swathe through these now young adults. Now, who will live? Who will survive? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. Let's discuss Dead by Christmas. Now, if you have seen the movie I Know What We Did Last Summer, this is a festive equivalent of that movie, a Christmas. Well, I Know What You Did Last Christmas, it should have been called. It's a very similar vibe to that. This group of teens have done something at some point, and now they're paying for their sins. It's that kind of thing. So this is a very low budget. The budget was apparently around $25,000, and it really looks low budget, let's be honest. Let's get that out of the way first of all. One of the weird choices with this film, now this is going to be a taste thing rather than a critique, is that there is a hell of a lot of basically voiceovers. So we have characters staring out of a window and doing whatever, and then you have a voiceover, ultimately, I guess, trying to convey their inner thoughts. I personally didn't like this choice. It seemed a little bit out of place to me, whilst I think the information could have been gotten through, dialogue with other characters and really showing you rather than telling you. I personally didn't like that choice, but it was certainly it was an artistic choice. Now, the deaths are suitably gruesome and all have a a festive flavour. People getting stabbed through the the guts with a I don't know what you call them in America, the like the candy cane type things like that. So lots of Christmassy deaths, and this movie does look particularly Christmassy. There's festive stuff all over the place, so it definitely does really use that Christmas spirit to haunt this movie, shall we say. What I didn't like was, well, first of all, those voiceovers. I thought they were out of place. The movie just seems a little bit discombobulated in regards to its plot. It really doesn't find its feet until about a third of the movie in, to be honest with you. The first third of this movie, I've got to say, is a little bit of a mess, because it's just all over the place and you don't really know what you're watching. Once you get established about what the status quo is and who the characters are, it settles down a little bit. You can watch it more of a straight movie, and it's a guessing game as to what's going on. But just the low budgetness of the nature here, the serious overacting by some of the cast here is quite the problem, and quite it's got distracting at times, to be quite honest with you. There is some serious overacting here. Overall, I've got to say, this movie probably falls on the lesser side of Christmas horrors that I have seen. It is a little bit too low budget. It feels a little bit just too rushed together. I do like some of the ideas of having a bit of a mystery involved and having a little bit of a guessing game, and certainly a a festive equivalent of I Know What We Did Last Summer is a fun idea. I just don't think the experience here was good enough to really make it a polished movie. But if you want a horror mystery horror that for your Christmas stocking, then this well could be it. So I'll give this movie a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.